everyone, my name is KM, an associate professor in the School of Life Sciences, the Chinese University of Hong Kong. This lecture is on climate change and sustainable energy policy. You might be shocked by this documentary which won the 2006 Best Documentary in Oscar, An Inconvenient Truth. That stirred up much debate over the issue of climate change and what we should do to deal with it. We have 3 videos on climate change and sustainable energy policy. First, we discuss greenhouse effects and urbanization. Second video is on the impacts of global warming. And the third video is about our energy policy to be implemented. You may check out more information in your textbook, chapter 15. This Hollywood movie called The Day After Tomorrow dramatically explains the tragic effects of climate change that could happen a century after. It won't happen as shown in the movie with all the impacts shown within a few months. The story of this movie has its scientific background and reasons. Comparing these 3 planets in our solar system with similar distance to the Sun, here on Earth is the only one has life, with an optimal temperature of 13 to 14 degrees Celsius. Venus, however, is the hottest among us, 450 degrees, 99% carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, and Mars is very cold. Carbon dioxide is trapped in its pole. The key question being asked is, what factors have contributed to surface temperature of planets? On Earth, we have atmosphere to maintain the optimal temperature with greenhouse effects. Incoming sunlight will be reflected back as outgoing radiation to the atmosphere, but bounce back to the Earth's crust as heat energy. There are chemicals doing this job to bounce back the heat energy, and these chemicals are known as greenhouse gases. One of the major greenhouse gases is carbon dioxide. Basically, the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere sinks down by carbon fixation from photosynthesis and ocean uptake. Carbon could further be fixed in coral or cellulose in different chemicals, but carbon dioxide is released back from respiration and degradation of organic matters. However, a major source of carbon dioxide released back to the air is from burning of fossil fuels and organic matters. This diagram from UNEP, United Nations Environment Programme, shows the major carbon stores and transfers. The capture and release in plant for growth and decay is basically balanced. Same is true in the ocean. Precipitation and evaporation back to the atmosphere is balanced too. These are shown as transfer in the red arrows, but the storage in circles as shown in here, either in coal, soil organic matters, or deep under the water, are now being released back from the burning of fossil fuel emission, as shown with the blue arrow. It's a one-way direction going to the atmosphere. This phenomenon started to appear around 200 years ago, since the Industrial Revolution, and later on we can see the temperature on our Earth's surface also increased 0.6 degrees in the 20th century. Even worse is, if this trend goes on like this, we are going to see the 5 degree or 8 degree increase in this century. This busy table shows the annual carbon dioxide emission in 2015 by country. China is number 1 on this chart as it contributes close to 30% of the world's total emission, and its uprising trend is here to stay. In 2008, China only contributed 23%. The United States is second, with only 14% contribution, but its emission per capita is huge, 16.1 tons per person, TPC, per year. While China was only 7.7 TPC, but its population is almost 4 to 5-fold more than the US. However, you can see that the US is reducing its carbon emission, but other countries like India, Russia are still in the rise. This table lists the major greenhouse gases. Data are a bit outdated, but roughly carbon dioxide has the highest concentration at a couple of hundreds of ppm, or parts per million. Despite its GWP global warming potential is the lowest. Other chemicals are having higher GWP with more complicated structures as methane, halocarbons, and nitrous oxide, as they have higher bone vibration energies, but their concentrations are only in the range of ppb, parts per billion levels. At the end of this video, we study how urbanization promotes greenhouse gas emission and the way forward. Here are the two major sources of greenhouse gases: burning of fossil fuel from vehicles and power plant. Look familiar? This happens in all cities around the world. Imagine that half of the population live in the cities, and cities are center of education, religion, etc. And so people need to move around and going in and out. Cities also create water crisis and pollutions, including waste, refuse, disease, and social issues. Of course, solid waste also contribute a lot of greenhouse gas emission. Transportation is important to city development and also higher energy dependent. Hence, sustainable energy policy is vital to any sustainable city. Guiding principle is greener, less energy and resources. Since China has 1.3 billion people and contribute almost 30% of the world's carbon emissions, what they do could have profound impacts on Earth. Here is a study comparing different provinces. The carbon emission per capita. The question being asked is, does urbanization lead to less energy use and lower carbon dioxide emission? The answer is yes, and you can see from 1995 to 2011, megacities emerged in the coastal provinces. But these coastal cities are able to maintain per capita carbon emission between 5 to 7, similar to the levels in Hong Kong. These figures here summarize world cities' energy use and carbon emissions. From World Bank data, obviously, high-income cities all have high energy use and emissions. However, the trend is both energy use and emission per capita could be improved in cities with higher urbanization levels, comparing the blue of 2005 data and the brown lines of 1975 data. There are rooms to improve the energy efficiency in cities. To conclude, to beat the heat in cities, we must improve energy efficiency, use mass transit railways, enhance carbon absorption, like with trees and green roof, put water to reduce heat, and implement renewable energies, for example, solar energy. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.